Three tropical disturbances out there right now. I'll let you know which one I think has the best chance to become a tropical storm. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back on a Tuesday here at Meteo Mundo. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we're going to get into the three different disturbances, especially this one currently impacting our area here in the Caribbean. We'll talk about how that could potentially move and develop as we go through the rest of the week ahead. Obviously, look at your island by island forecast as well, and then deep dive into the tropics. Love my Meteo Mundo weather community. Appreciate you guys. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like, and we will get started. Let's get right into what's going on with this disturbance on this Tuesday afternoon. Looks a little bit healthier today, doesn't it? Certainly bigger. It certainly has expanded, and it's beginning to bring more impacts, especially to the Dominican Republic and Haiti. We've had some very heavy rain. We've had some gusty winds. We've had some good storms, especially roll into the Dominican Republic on this Tuesday. From Barcelona towards Santo Domingo, La Romana, Punta Cana, Samana, Santiago de los Caballeros, Puerto Plata, all with the opportunity for some very heavy rain in some spots. That's been 2 to 4 inches or 50 to 100 millimeters, and some locally higher amounts is led to the possibility of some flash flooding, even some landslides and mudslides. Remember, this is a very mountainous island. If you live in these areas, let me know in the comments section below what's been going on, but it has been a wet, stormy day. The numbers that you see on the screen, that's wind gusts in miles an hour in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Pretty steady, 35, 36 mile an hour wind, and some of that activity is beginning to spiral into the Haiti side of the island. So Port-au-Prince, Lacaille, other areas, again, this will continue to impact the island through the rest of the afternoon and tonight, and trying to hold on even overnight as well. So there will be more rain moving in. The axis of that moisture is basically due south of the island. Now, it's been a very breezy but much drier day over Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Again, a lot of areas have had 25, 30 mile an hour winds, but we're drying out as that moisture axis moves off towards the west. There's actually been some heat advisories. Still can't rule out an isolated shower storm. You see a little lightning strikes there towards portions of the British Virgin Islands, but overall, it's been a little bit quieter for today. Let me dump off the satellite data here real quick and bring on the radar out of Puerto Rico, and you'll get the idea. There's actually some excessive heat warnings here. That's how hot it's been for today. But again, these are wind gusts in miles an hour. You can see on the Puerto Rico radar here, nice storms off to the south and to the west, and there's your activity into the eastern sides of the Dominican Republic, Punta Cana, Romana, San Pedro de Macorís, and all of this actually spiraling kind of from the southeast to the northwest around the axis of where we have that moisture from the tropical disturbance. Let's get back over to the satellite data here, and let's take a look at the structure of this. Okay, first of all, it looks a little bit better overall. There is at least a mid-level circulation trying to develop on the southwest side. You can clearly see that counterclockwise spin. This is the visible satellite imagery. You can see that. Now, it's still exposed on the southwest side with some drier air. And for September, for this to continue to struggle, certainly is a thing. The Hurricane Center doesn't feel like it's going to develop in the next couple of days. Even though the structure looks a little bit better, it's still struggling to get a low level center of circulation. And again, it is an elongated area of showers and storms, some very healthy tropical moisture, but as far as wrapping up a true center, you can see on the southwest side from that buoy, the winds right now are still only around 15 miles an hour. So not expecting it to develop into a depression between here and the beginning of that yellow polygon. That's from the National Hurricane Center. And notice that that yellow polygon is now yellow instead of orange. They've actually dropped the chance from 40 to 30%. I'm a little surprised about that, simply because basically it looks better and healthier than what it has been over the last week, but we'll see how it plays out. Now, in the short term, this will bring more rain to places like Jamaica, the southeast sides of Cuba, portions of the Turks and Caicos as well. We've already had a few downpours here in Jamaica, mainly on the southwest side of the island. Cambridge, Black River, Savlamar, Negril, Lucy areas, Treasure Beach, a couple more just trying to develop towards Maypen at the hour. There's much more to come, though. It's going to get wetter in Jamaica. Could start as early as tonight, overnight, and then throughout the day on our Wednesday. And this moisture will, again, as I said, spread into the Turks and Caicos, portions of Cuba. Now, down the road, We'll get more rain later tomorrow for the Cayman Islands, and then we'll get much more into detail about how this could develop as it gets closer to the Yucatan and into the Northwest Caribbean. Now, to get into what's happening at the hour, we do have some healthy showers and storms developing across Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum, back down towards Orange Walk, Belize City, there in Belize. Scattered in nature, you go farther off towards the south, Honduras and Nicaragua, a few storms for portions of Panama and Costa Rica as well. Storms have been relatively isolated today in the northwest side of the Bahamas, just a couple getting going at the hour. You can see the lightning counts, but most of that's in South Florida. Note a couple of storms over Andros, a few over Abaco and Grand Bahama, but it's been relatively quiet for today, and even quieter central southeast sides of the islands. And again, we'll watch for some of this moisture to get back into the Turks and Caicos later today and tonight. We've also dried out across the Lesser Antilles in general as well. Again, still some fresh winds here. St. Martin had a nearly 30-mile-an-hour wind gust. The buoy just west of Montserrat around 22. But relatively speaking, it has been quieter for today. Has there been a few little spotty showers? Yes. But again, that deepest moisture is now well off towards the west. But yesterday, as the disturbance came through, we talked about some of the heavier rain and the gusty winds it brought you guys. And this is a picture yesterday from friend of the channel, Chad Forbush. This is, he's sailing out there near the St. Kitts area, and that's a stormy shot of St. Kitts, and you can see, it's a really cool shot there. You can see almost the uplift of the clouds here from the topography of the island, those darker bases there, but then that nice kind of uplift, that trajectory helping to fire off the showers and storms with the very breezy conditions. Appreciate Chad sitting in that picture, and again, you want to send a picture or video to me, it's mymediamundo@gmail.com. Let's get into the forecast. As we do so, thank you for liking this video. Thank you for joining our Meteo Mundo weather community by subscribing right now. Want to help us out? Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends, and ways to support me here at the channel via the memberships. It's just 99 cents a month. The super thanks, and you can find other ways in the description below in the video. Okay, so now let's talk about how this disturbance is going to play out. My thoughts on it on this Tuesday. Again, 30% chance of development from the National Hurricane Center. Doesn't mean it's not going to have some significant impacts. We're seeing the heavy rain threat for the Dominican Republic and Haiti right now. Jamaica, portions of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and eventually down the road, the Yucatan and Central America will all come into play. But we're talking more about getting a low-level center of circulation and getting this thing to become a tropical depression. Again, that's not in the forecast over the next 48 hours, potentially down the road closer to the Yucatan and portions of Central America. Have an interesting fact for you guys. The last time there were no named storm formations between August 13th and today, September 3rd, was 1968. It has been a drought of 56 years in the sense of that Ernesto formed on August 12th. And that's the last named storm we've had. So it was 1968, the last time you had no named storms between August 13th and September 3rd. So we are in a quote unquote historic drought. A lot of you have commented asking me what my thoughts are coming up in tomorrow's video. We'll get a little bit more into some of my thoughts as to why August and early September has played out the way it's played. I've been delving into it, keeping an eye out on some high-end tropical minds out there as well. But remember, another big question to ask yourself is, why are we seeing this drought right now, yet we had Hurricane Beryl, a Category 5 hurricane, the strongest, earliest ever in this part of the world, developed during this season, which is now of a drought of 56 years, right? That what we've had from August 13th to September 3rd. It's been a very unusual situation here, no doubt about it. All right, forecast time. We'll get into the GFS model to begin with. First, take a look at the NAM as well. So we'll start with the GFS. Let me get back over to the reflectivity to begin with here, and then we'll loop that up. Give me just 1 second. I want to take it out far enough in time so we can talk about this. So look, here's the bottom line. For the remainder of today, tonight, tomorrow, portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti will see some heavy rain and storms, all right? That will then shift west towards Cuba, Jamaica especially for tomorrow, and then getting into the Cayman Islands late in our Wednesday into early on Thursday. Now on the GFS, the axis of thickest moisture stays just a little bit south of the islands, all right? Still gonna be waves of heavy rain, still gonna really kick up the surf and sea conditions as well. Please be aware of that. 15 to 30 mile an hour winds and some higher gusts. But again, just more kind of squally weather than anything. No real wrap up on the GFS as even a potential until it gets much closer to the Yucatan And it might not even be until the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico. But you can clearly see that there's even more moisture coming in here the farther west that you go. So more than anything, just squally weather for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and anywhere from Honduras off towards the south. You're looking at Guatemala, Belize, and the Yucatan with the more potential direct impacts. When we take a look at the wind associated with the GFS model, surface-based, so these are going to be winds that are going to be sustained. The winds are going to be fresh. As I mentioned, 15 to 30 miles an hour. Jamaica, it's going to kick up the surf and sea conditions. Again, we had a 36-mile-an-hour wind gust in Port-au-Prince, Haiti for today. Cayman Islands should expect that later tomorrow and then potentially through portions of our Thursday, and that all drives off towards the west. But as I broaden this out a little bit, the bigger thing you're going to be looking out for is there any true center of circulation developing here at the surface with the GFS model? And the answer in the short term is no. It's still going to be an elongated area of some showers and storms. Now, gusty winds will come along with it, but if there's any real potential for development on the GFS, it's not going to happen until it gets into the western side of the Gulf of Mexico, which is in accordance with, if you will, to what the Hurricane Center is showing for the potential development area. Let's take a look at the NAM. NAM is going to show you a little bit more in the way of direct impacts for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands as far as just the rainfall opportunity. We get this back out here till right about this time. I would still expect there to be overall about 2 to 4 inches of rain as a possibility for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands over the next couple of days. That's 50 to 100 millimeters. There will be some locally higher amounts. There won't be as much in some areas, but that is a potential for us here. And again, winds of 15 to 30. Just notice on the NAM, there's a little bit more moisture north of that yellow line overall. So that's going to spin into Kingston and Port Moresby, Spanish Town, and Montego Bay and Grand Cayman a little bit more. But the NAM is still, again, keeping this a very sloppy system through these areas, including Cuba, and then eventually trying to maybe get it a little bit more organized right near Belize City or the southern sides of Quintana Roo as we get into our Friday. All right, we'll see how that plays out. But again, if it develops right beforehand, what's happened next? It's going to move over land. It's going to kill that low-level center of circulation. So there's a possibility we get a depression just before it hits Belize, which again would be more rain than a wind threat if it stays a depression, but it could absolutely knock back down that center of circulation and have to try and reform in the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico. Let's look at the models. These are our ensemble products, okay? And again, I showed you the deterministic model of the GFS there. On my weather computer, this is the ensembles. There's 51 members of the GFS. Some of them have development near the Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, then moving into the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico. If it gets a little bit stronger, that's where it occurs, okay? But not a lot of ensemble members have this development, all right? Again, a little surprise, it's not 40 instead of, like it has been, is now 30. But there's not a ton of members here that make this into anything significant. There is absolutely a possibility that this does not become a tropical storm and that we don't get Francine out of this. It's still plausible. I think the best chance would be in the southwest to the far west side of the Gulf. Here's the European ensemble members. You're going to see about the same scenario here. This is the last part of the run. This is the beginning of it. Again, through tomorrow and Thursday, no development. The first signs right here off the Belize coast, north side of Honduras near Roatan, but mainly waiting until it gets into the southwest Gulf of Mexico. Again, are we just pushing this back, kicking the can down the road, and it never actually develops? That is absolutely plausible. European model is still a little bit more aggressive with development as it lifts to the north towards Texas and Louisiana as we get into early to even mid next week. Okay, you see a couple of members here, and we'll talk about that next disturbance coming up as well. Now, as far as wave heights and directions, obviously, again, boaters just need to be aware that with this disturbance is going to come some very fresh winds. All right, easterlies will continue, but wave heights could get, especially on the southeast side of Jamaica, 7, 8, 9 feet. Okay, several meters in height, moving off towards the west, and then some of that could kick up along portions of the northern Mexican coastline through portions of Texas and Louisiana. Also look for some fresh winds along the United States eastern seaboard as well. But with this disturbance, obviously it's going to bring in some pretty strong winds. So let's break this down as of now, okay? And I apologize, this should say disturbance in the Caribbean. But as of now, there's a 30% chance of development as it continues to move across the Caribbean. The same areas I mentioned yesterday should just still be paying attention. Again, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, it's not going to develop into a depression or a storm in your area, but it's still going to bring impacts just like we've been talking about. Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, these are areas where that's the first signs that we could try and wrap up a low-level center of circulation. But as far as anything strong, does not appear to be in the cards whatsoever. All right, so now let's get back over to the other two disturbances. All right, you have another one here, which is still located more than 1,000 miles and kilometers away from the Lesser Antilles, all right? There's a 10% chance of development with this one. Decent thunderstorm activity on this Tuesday, but that trajectory is forecast to go to the north and to the west, and more than likely not bringing direct impacts, even if we're trying to develop to the Leeward Islands. I'll monitor that. The second scenario is the one that's just came off the West African coast. That one has a 30% chance. It's got an even quicker northerly turn. More than likely, neither of these will become significant. Neither of these will become storms that will impact any landmass. But I'll go back over to the GFS here real quick and I'll loop this back up and we'll take a look. Now, I still think this one has the best chance to become a tropical storm, to answer the question at the beginning of the video. The other one that has an opportunity would be the one that just came off the West African coast, all right? So let the GFS come up here over the next several days. Again, let's watch this disturbance here. Gonna try and lift to the north, but as we get into the weekend, it's like a dealer at a casino. Don't see anything there, right? With this one, it's very slow, but there's a little bit more to it eventually. But again, that's heading far north relatively fast. And even at the end of the run here, the GFS doesn't have much going. Now back over to this one real quickly, because if the GFS does hold true, I want you to notice that even regardless of development, whether this is a depression or a storm, this could spread in some pretty healthy rain to areas that have been very wet, like North Mexico, Texas, and especially Louisiana lately. So this could ultimately continue to be a rainmaker up the western side of the Gulf of Mexico. So when we look at the tropical depression probabilities here, you're going to see that the European model basically has it at 100% chance in the Southwest Gulf for the one that we're tracking in the Caribbean right now. The one in the middle, very low end chance, more than likely, right? If it's going to do it, it's going to have to do it pretty soon. And then the one that just came off the West African coast, that's going to be your secondary best chance for depression. Again, depressions don't get names. You got to have a tropical storm. So we're not even talking about the next named storm, but just one that could actually be a true tropical system out there here as we get deeper into the first week of September. Now it's time to get into the island by island forecast. What do you say? So we've talked about the areas that could potentially be impacted by some of these disturbances. Let's get into what the rainfall forecast looks like in your area. I'm going to back this back down over the next couple of days, and then we'll get into it. Let's see here. I'm going to bring this out just a little bit farther in time. And while I'm doing so, again, if you haven't hit the like button, I'd appreciate that small payback. Thank you guys very much for doing so. Let's go out here. Okay. So basically the next few days, right? And then we're gonna look at your island by island rainfall forecast. We'll start off east. I don't expect there to be a lot of organized rain for the Lesser Antilles in general. Again, more than likely this moisture stays north and east of you. So scattered rain coming in with the easterly trades, nothing extremely organized, no real high-end chance. Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Guadeloupe, Montserrat, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia. I'm going to try and get everyone in. Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad, Tobago, Nueva Esparta. All, you're looking around a 30 to a 40% chance for showers during the next couple of days. All right. Unfortunately for the ABC Islands, obviously this moisture is moving off towards the west. I hope you got a little bit of rain out of it. Rain chances will remain relatively low. For the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, about the same scenario as the Lesser Antilles, right? A few more showers possibly tonight, but really I don't expect there to be anything organized outside of passing showers over the next 3 days, which means the heat will be a bigger story. Once again, not air temperature, but feels like temperatures. What does it feel like when you step outside? That's a number. It's called the heat index. Has been over 120 in a couple of portions of St. Croix and San Juan, or Puerto Rico in general, over the last couple of days. Ponce would be the city I was talking about. Very, very hot outside the rain. Please be careful. Rain chances will actually drop a bit, obviously, over the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Over the next couple of days, rain chances will improve for Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, the Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Rain chances the next few days will stay very isolated for the central southeast Bahamas, a little bit higher the northwest Bahamas, but overall not a ton. So it's a 50% chance tomorrow for the northwest Bahamas, 40 Thursday, 30 on Friday. Central, southeast Bahamas, couple of rogue showers and storms, that's it. Same thing for the Turks and Caicos. Cuba's rain chances go higher as that tropical disturbance moves through. The Cayman Islands, 40% chance tomorrow, then late tomorrow through Thursday, here's your highest chance, 60, still a 50% chance on Friday. Belize City's rain chances will just go higher and higher, and we'll see how this plays out as far as what kind of active weather we can start to see in this area beginning on Friday and for the weekend. Same thing for our friends in Cancun and Cozumel. You should expect a wet, stormy, windy weekend ahead as that disturbance looks to be beelining it into your area. Jamaica's rain chances improve later tonight throughout the day on Wednesday. Still pretty good Thursday, falling off on Friday. Not as much rain. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico each day will kind of highlight Thursday with a little bit better chance for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands as well. Bermuda's going to have some decent rain chances for tomorrow. Then their rain falls off. Anguilla, 40% chance the next couple days. Drier Friday. St. Kitts and Nevis highlighted by a 50% chance on Thursday. A little bit better chance overall for the Lesser Antilles tomorrow, Thursday. Slightly lower on Friday, but nothing is just going to be organized. So don't be shocked if you're one of the lucky ones and you get 2 to 3 days of rain over the next 3 days, or you're one of the areas that just doesn't get anything because there's nothing that's going to be very widespread coming in, right? Just scattered rain for these areas. Montserrat and Guadeloupe and Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Barbados, 30% chance the next couple days, 40 on Friday. Grenada, isolated. Same thing for Trinidad and Tobago. Still could be some heavier downpours, but just nothing very widespread. Suriname's rain chances 40 to 50. Guyana right around 40, and then just very isolated for Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands. So again, the rainfall forecast on the European model the next 7 days certainly takes along what's going on with this disturbance. From Jamaica west through the Yucatan, Cayman Islands, the far western side of the Gulf of Mexico, near the northern coastline of Mexico, South Texas, we could potentially have some 8 to 12 inches of rain in some of those areas, maybe more than 200 millimeters in a couple of spots, and even portions of the Yucatan and Mexico in general could see some of that. Then very heavy rainfall totals over the Gulf Coast states of Florida and the United States in general. And again, these areas here, 2 to 4 inches, locally higher, drier in the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and the Lesser Antilles in general. Friends, I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us across all social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video like Chad did today, it is mymeteomundo@gmail.com. You have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop that one in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow with the latest right here at Meteo Mundo.